This is Ken Smith reminding you it happened today, April 20th, but the year was 1611, the first known performance of Shakespeare's Macbeth in London. It was April 20th, 1759, when composer Friedrich Handel is buried in Westminster Abbey, London. It was on this day, April 20th, 1862, that the first pasteurization test is completed by Frenchman Louis Pasteur. It was on this day, April 20th, 1918, Manfred von Richthofen, better known as the Red Baron, shoots down his 79th and 80th victims from the sky, marking his final victories before his death the next day. It was on this day, 1920, that tornadoes killed 219 people in Alabama and Mississippi. It was on this day, April 20th, 1940, that the first electron microscope is demonstrated by RCA in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. It was on this day, April 20th, 1964, when 86% of Black students boycott the Cleveland schools. An unusual fishing trip, April 20th, 1979, when President Jimmy Carter is attacked by a swamp rabbit, which swam up to his fishing boat in Plains, Georgia. A more earth-shaking event occurred on April 20th, 1980, when Fidel Castro announced the opening of the Mariel port for Cubans to leave. 125,000 Cubans fled from Cuba in the next 6 months. It was on this day, April 20th, 1999, the Columbine High School massacre, when 2 boys killed 13 people and injured 24 others before committing suicide themselves. It was just 1 year ago, 2019, that then Senator Elizabeth Warren urged Congress to begin impeachment proceedings against President Trump. Well, that was April 20th in the past, but this is April 20th, 2020. And Venezuela, which used to be the wealthiest country in South America, today is suffering from corruption, overspending, political unrest, and now there are no medicines. There is no gasoline, said Munoz, who's a 28-year-old resident. When drugs were scarce last year, he said, I went 8 months without medication. Now the gasoline shortage has made my dialysis sessions at a hospital 17 miles from my home impossible to reach. In Britain, the government announced a sweeping nationwide lockdown that restricts outside exercise to only once a day, enforced by the local police. In France, they declared a 2-month state of emergency. Residents can go outside for up to 1 hour to complete essential tasks and can only exercise within 1/2 mile of their homes. Stuck in their homes in Chicago area residents are turning to backyard bird watching. The Chicago Audubon Society said that the activity on their Facebook page has grown 134% in the past month, and their membership has increased 12%. This weekend, 2 NASA astronauts and a Russian cosmonaut made a return back to Earth from the International Space Station, only to find that the planet has been changed, transformed by this pandemic. They heard the words, "Touchdown, welcome home." Footage from the landing site showed the recovery crews wearing face masks and rubber gloves as they hauled the crew members out of the capsule. "Please keep your distance," one ground crew member could be heard telling another. One of the women astronauts said, "It would be difficult now to learn that I won't be able to embrace my family and friends and to come to grips with this new culture." "For 200 days," she said, "we were really the only 3 humans that were not subject to the virus. Billions of humans on Earth were dealing with this in some way or another. The 3 of us weren't." She said, "I think I feel more isolated on Earth than in the Space Center." While the Earth fights the global battle with the virus, this International Space Station is also entering a new era as it prepares to welcome the first crew flown by Elon Musk's SpaceX. They're planning to take off next month. With 2 astronauts, they plan to take off in mid-May. And after blasting off from the Kennedy Space Center, the pair will spend 2 to 3 months aboard the orbital lab. They'll meet with Russian cosmonauts who've been there since April 9th. They are the first crew members to join after the pandemic began. Right now, imagine above our heads in the sky, the International Space Station has been orbiting the Earth at 17,000 miles per hour since 1998. Life goes on. This is Ken Smith reminding you it happened today, April 20th, 2020.